real quick. That being the card opener in the women's flyweight division, Erin Blanchfield defeats J.J. Aldrich by submission via guillotine choke. The official time coming at 2 minutes 38 seconds of round number 2. Blanchfield now 9-1 as a professional, but more importantly, she is 3-0 in the UFC women's flyweight division, gentlemen. This time, getting her first finish under the UFC banner. So, Omar, when you watched this fight with Blanchfield, what stuck out to you in terms of her performance and anything that you want to highlight?
So there's a few things that stuck out to me, and I wonder if this is going to be more controversial than Mark was about to go into. I like Erin Blanchfield. Her fight against Maverick, she was a beast. I think we were talking about this fight last week. I think I mentioned that this fight is going to be a scrap. Like, it was going to be a competitive fight. And up until the point where the finish happened, that's exactly what I thought it was. JJ was bringing the fight to Erin Blanchfield. She was definitely fighting back. And there's a lot of good exchanges that were happening. What I wasn't super impressed on in this fight specifically was Blanchfield's striking. She didn't really seem like she had a good management of distance. A lot of her strikes were very tight and in close, but they were thrown as if they were supposed to be thrown from a farther distance. So she wasn't really getting a lot of actual punches off, so much as just a lot of movement trying to go with the combinations, which I'm assuming is some instinct in her head. But it wasn't as much effective striking as I think we saw in the Miranda Maverick fight. The takedown, first of all, her takedown defense is next level. At one point, there was a sequence where she threw a head kick at JJ.
Yes.
The head kick, the foot basically like stayed stuck on JJ's neck, and JJ tried to like trip her, like push her over for a takedown, and never got it. Not only did she never get it, but Blanchfield was able to bring her foot back, get back her base, and then work her way out of the clinch from that sequence. That shit is crazy. You almost never see that actually happen in real life. So that was a fantastic showing from her as far as her takedown defense was concerned. So there were a lot of great things to take away from the Blanchfield performance. There were definitely some things where I think she needs to tighten it up. She gets hit a lot in that fight. I think both of the girls weren't able to really get effective range in that fight, so they weren't really cracking each other, I think, as hard as they could have. I can tell you right now, some of the women in the top 5 would have probably put Blanchfield out that night if she allowed them to hit her the way she got hit that night. So there's definitely some work to be done. There's a lot of promise with Erin Blanchfield. I just think that she's not as prepared for the top as I think we may have thought after the Miranda Maverick fight.
Mark, what's your take on Omar's take?
The same exact take.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Erin Blanchfield is not Manon Fior level prospect ready in this division. And, maybe not like I would have said Fior 1, Blanchfield 2 in terms of the uppercomers in the division, but I think we were all maybe a bit more sold on her than we may be today. But, it's interesting because, she still looked great in the end. It was a great win, but she just kind of got a little exposed. The positive first, the finish was nasty. She snatched that high elbow guillotine out of thin air. It literally came out of nowhere, and it was tight so fast. It almost, I'm not even sure Aldrich thought she was in trouble until she was suddenly like, oh my God, I need to tap. So that was a nasty finish, and I give her huge props for it. It's her first finish in the UFC, big one for her resume, all that. But at the same time, I thought that was going to be easier. She had just dominated Miranda Maverick. She was minus 550 on the betting odds coming into this fight. And maybe it's just that we need to acknowledge that J.J. Aldrich has leveled up of late, but she was giving Blanchfield some problems. And I think she more or less laid out a game plan of who and how can people beat Erin Blanchfield, which is that as Blanchfield moves up these ranks, kind of like Omar was saying, if she runs into a girl who has a combo of takedown defense and danger in her strikes, I'm going to be very curious to see what Blanchfield looks like. Because even Aldrich, if she had a bit more danger in those strikes she was throwing, a little more power, a little more speed, that might have gone south. So I'm very interested to see the next level Blanchfield gets to here and see what kind of problems girls present to her. But, 3-0, a finish. I don't want to take anything away from her. Right. Devil's advocate a little bit, but we will see.
Omar, are you going to say something?
I agree. I was just going to say it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be a slower burn for her to get to the top than we may have thought originally. She's very good. She's very good. I am definitely down to watch her. She's definitely going to be a problem, but I just don't think she's going to reach the top as quick as we may have thought, just based off of her last performance. This last one, I think, showed that the higher ranking she goes, the more problems she's going to run into, and it showed some of her inexperience, and that's okay. I mean, that's what this is all for, right? Like, it's, she has the experience now. She's run into those problems. The next time she runs into it, if she reacts the same way, she may not be growing, the way that we think. But if she reacts differently, if she improves, if she's able to react better to those situations, we might have a real contender on our hands, man.
I mean, look, Erin Blanchfield, let's not forget, is 23 years old. And this was only her 10th fight as a pro. And after her first 7 fights, she's in the UFC. Now she's 3-0 in the UFC. She's only 23 years old. I think life is pretty fucking good for this 23-year-old. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, to clarify on your point, in no way am I talking about her long-term prospects. Those are unchanged. I'm just simply talking about the short-term ascent. Omar said it perfectly. I think we all thought it was going to be quicker, and I think after seeing that, you're like, okay, maybe this is not going to be like a meteoric rise. It's just going to be a normal rise.
A normal rise. Totally. Let's just stick with the winner in this fight, gentlemen. Again, in the interest of time, Erin Blanchfield, women's flyweight rankings. Mark, why don't you go first? Give us a name.
I liked her call out. She asked for the winner of Jessica Ai and Macy Barber. I think that works. There's another similar fight. Sajara Eubanks is fighting Marina Moroz. I think the winner of that fight could work as well. But either of those, I think we'd learn more about Blanchfield, and they'd each present some interesting challenges.
Omar, you got a name?
Yeah, I think the winner would definitely be good either way. Personally, I'd rather see her against Macy Barber than against Jessica Ai, just from a stylistic standpoint, but definitely a good fight to go down.
I have a different name from both of you gentlemen. A similar fighter, also young, very similar record at 10-1, also undefeated at 4-0 in the UFC, Tracy Cortez.
So that's her loss.
Whose loss?
Is it not? I thought that's Erin Blanchfield's one career loss.
It was where did they fight?
Now you're making me doubt myself.
Oh, you're right. They fought in Invicta.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
thought.
God damn it. Well, then they should run it. It was a split.
I mean, they could certainly run it back at this point in time. Huh. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea at all. But yeah, So it has backstory as well.